I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
And the child shall lead them.
If you're planning on buying merch, wait a couple days because the new design will be there.
Yeah, new design's coming out. Shout out to everybody in Facebook and Twitter land. Watching with us right now. This is what we call a fire stream, where we're actually dedicating an entire night to a patron of ours. We didn't put that in the commercial, but this guy has purchased so many songs. He's like, you know what? Just dedicate an entire stream. And we said, you know what? Roger that. So there's a lot of things.
He didn't even ask for us to do all his songs. He was like, just do 2 of them.
That's true.
I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do all of them.
Yep. So there you go. There you go. So that's what we're doing right now. If you want to be part of that, you know the drill. You got the Patreon side. You got the VillageXchange@gmail.com at PayPal. And I'm pretty excited for this one because I have the lyrics had to be translated, but never you fail, because the lyrics will be right here on the screen. You can follow along. One of the best human beings on the planet did a quick translation of the song for us, and so
here we are.
Shout out to Alfred, the homie, which I'm certain I'm mispronouncing his name, but you guys don't care about what I have to say anymore.
Let's get to the music.
Let us do Storm, and let's go. Storm, Norwegian something. I'm butchering the pronunciation. Apologies. I'm trying to respect the culture. I'm not doing a very good job at it. All right, let's go. same riff as the other song.
Han griper sverdet fatt og knøyver den blåvende skallen. Hans kjeftene bryr seg i ulmende has, ufredde kommer han falle.
Okay, so that riff was very
similar.
Did you timestamp this one?
No.
Look around, just estimate 1 hour. Very doomy as far as the metal is concerned. Lyrically, It was. I mean, it was a better song than the other song that we did at first. So we did Quintessence from Dark Throne. So this kind of had the same main riff. It was pretty much the same main riff.
Yeah.
What year was this song written?
That's the name of the song right there. Storm. Oh, I brought it up over here, so we could.
Yeah, like, was that written as the same year as the other one?
Not sure.
Is that on the same record? It was in 1995. Yeah.
So the other one was 1995 too, right?
Yeah. Was it the? That's strange. What's going on there? Is it the same band? A different band?
Yeah.
Both were in. Yeah. So here it says. So Al first got it 1995. Wow. So this song had way more dynamics to it than the other one.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it did.
I'm just wondering, like, was it controversial that they took the riff?
Daniel, was it controversial? Do you know anything about that?
It basically stole. I don't know if they stole is the right word,
But if they both came out in 95.
Yeah, that's true. That's weird.
Yeah, it's very
90s
weird.
was the birth of black metal. But either way, when I compare it to Quintessence, this song was way better than Quintessence, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
And it had more... It was a lot more dynamic, too, than Quintessence. Yeah. Quintessence was good because it had that driving, pounding kind of feel.
in both Storm and Dark Throne.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the guys... Okay. That makes sense. So we have the same person in
both bands.
In both bands. Okay, that makes sense.
So, that's how they... That's so funny.
Honestly, though, I don't lyrically, I actually still think that Varg's offering was better lyrically than this song. This song seemed to be, lyrically what he did with the numerology and all that stuff in the Quintessence song.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better than I was impressed by it. It was these lyrics are great too, but it was I just loved what he did with the numerology at the beginning. But aside from that, this song, in my opinion, was way better, had more layers, way more dynamic, that type of thing.
What was going on with the lyrics?
Okay, so a strong guy from the farm. I'm assuming a strong guy meant a strong man, a warrior type guy. He left his farm. He followed pine and breeze up through the hills, greystone and wilderness. Bold his steps were. So this is a guy. He's a farmer, and something is calling him into the woods or whatever. Swathed in twilight under a completely Norwegian sky. That's beautiful lyrics. I bet you anything. It sounds really cool too when you say it in the native language. Yeah. Ooh, somebody said Borknagar. Borknagar is one of my favorite bands of all time. The bassist from Borknagar is one of the best basses in the world ever. That's a fact. We continue. Swathed in twilight under a completely Norwegian sky, his feet steadily wander towards their goal and upon heights. A weather-bitten hand clutches a sword. That's such good world building right there.
I know.
That is such good world building right there. And cleaves the blue men's heads. Now, who are the blue men? The only thing that I could think about was Braveheart. Remember they would
Oh yeah,
dress up in
their
blue.
Faces.
Yeah. So I'm just assuming.
The blue men's heads.
By the way, welcome to Crystal, newest villagers. Shout out to
welcome.
Crystal. We haven't done any skillet yet, but we're going to soon. Okay. So the blue men, so the blue men were the invaders of Norway. Okay. Isaac goes, the blue man group, obviously. So the blue men are the invaders, which, okay, I assume. And those, I'm assuming, are Christian invaders, right? Okay, so this guy's in a farm and he's going to confront these invaders. Yeah. So he's a regular farmer just trying to do his thing, and then he hears about this jihad, so he leaves his farm. He's got his sword in a tilt, and he's going to go challenge these guys, and he's chopping off heads. It cleaves the blue man's head. His mouth twists in smoldering hate. Unpeace will fall. That's a brilliant term, unpeace. That's one of those things where you...
have to think about it a couple times before you get it.
Well, it's a translational issue. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no... I'm assuming that the word for unpeace in Norwegian is... There's no equivalent for it in English.
Yeah.
And so when you carry it over, it kind of does that.
Yeah, yeah.
Then he stood there on the lookout top. His eyes couldn't rest because he sought a pure sight, but it became a cruel pain. There in the midst of the Norwegian forest and wilderness, the enemy was cruel and dreadful, subhanAllah. His grim mind should show them that a son of the north has a lot of guts or has a lot of courage. Weather-beaten hand clutches a sword and cleaves a blue man's head. His mouth twists in smoldering hate. On peace will fall. The son of the north lost Norway's home. Damn. To the face of an army, proud he was when he returned to cleave them with his sword. Okay, so when it says... Later, Tina. When it says right there, the son of the north lost Norway's home.
Yeah.
To the face of an army, or to a face of an army, it looks to be saying that he's basically going to just fight to the death.
Yeah.
Because he was on his farm just trying to live a normal life, and then these blue men show up, so he goes in there and takes care of the jihad. He wins a little skirmish, but it looks like when he gets to the top of the lookout, he sees all the carnage and destruction that because if you look at verse 4,
yeah,
he stood at the top of the lookout. His eyes couldn't rest because he sought a pure sight, but it became a cruel pain. He saw something from the lookout. What was it? There in the midst of the Norwegian forest and wilderness, the enemy was cruel and dreadful.
Jeez.
So he's seeing something happen to his folks. And he comes to there is a time like in a battle or a game or a war when you know you're going to lose. Like
you just go all out.
Well, some people just quit and some people go all out. It just depends on what you're made of. You know, so what?
I just probably because I wouldn't just quit. I mean, if you're going to die anyway, I want to at least go out taking someone with me.
Well, you're not necessarily going to die. If you run, you can preserve your own life. And a lot of times, you know, they will accept your surrender if you're just a beat soldier. So, I mean, a lot of guys just, you know, it's very...
They wanted to get back to their family.
Well, I mean, we've had situation where 4 dudes went out and only 1 came back, right? Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
he didn't fight very bravely.
Right.
Right. So, even though they made a bunch of movies about him and all the rest of it, it wasn't really that brave. So, I mean, you just have to know, you know, and there's no real way to tell what kind of person you're gonna be or what your kind of person your friend's gonna be
until you're in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to say, "Oh, I'd fight to the death" or whatever. And I believe that you would fight to the death because the kind of life that that you would have in surrender as a person like you'd probably rather be dead. See what I'm saying to you? But there's other people who could have a pretty cushy life in surrender, and so they'll surrender. This particular guy, though, he's like, no, like, I'm not quitting. We've lost Norway. The son of the north lost Norway's home to face the army, but he was proud when he returned to cleave them with his sword. So he's just going to go down there, and he's just going to go out and, you know, straight death before dishonor, period. As Stephen says, caution is often the better part of valor. I was talking to the kids about 9/11, and so they didn't know who Bin Laden was. It was mind-boggling to me. I was like, oh, that's right. And I was talking about how we almost got Bin Laden very, very early. He was in this tunnel complex in Tora Bora. And I mean, they literally had him. They had him.
What happened? Why didn't we get him?
Well, and it was crazy. He was saying on the radio too, like he's like, it's over. You know, he was saying it's okay to surrender. Blah blah blah. Whole 9 yards. Yeah, he was like he was pretty certain he was done, and so they had cornered him, and You remember this, the whole bunker buster thing? Do you remember any of that? Bunker busters?
I do, but I can't. Yeah, I can't really remember. It's like just too vague there. Go ahead, tell me.
Well, long story short, the guy that was heading up that team, because he had teams all throughout, whatever, and there was a lot of blue on blue, green on blue shit happening, and he called a play. He said no. He said we're not gonna follow him into this thingamajig.
Okay.
And the dudes were like, "Yo, let's go, let's go." He's like, "Nah, pull back." He's like, "We'll just get him on the other side," and they didn't, because there was another complex that was unaccounted for, and
oh boy,
and he escaped. But
that's so annoying.
I was explaining that to the kids, and of course they were like, what a ridiculous thing to do. That guy's a coward. I'm like, the guy's a coward. What are you talking about? Like, this guy, the play that he called, I mean, I personally disagree with it, but the guy is not a coward. I mean, his whole logic was, I don't want any of my guys to die.
Yeah.
That was his big thing, is like, he's like, you don't know what it's like to be responsible. All you guys know is, kick a door and blah, 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 blah. You don't know what it's like to be like, this guy's dead, and it's
well, yeah, especially if you're literally thinking that on the other side, you're going to catch him when he comes out the other side of the hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they...
Why put your guys at risk when he's going to pop out over there and you can do it without much risk?
Yeah, so he called a play, and I think it was the right play to call, morally speaking. But, like I had to explain... like he felt like he was doing the right thing. And so to Steven's point, sometimes caution is a better part of valor. We can Monday morning quarterback all we want, but I guarantee you the wives and the kids of those operators were happy.
Absolutely.
Even though,
absolutely.
I talked to the homie. I mean, it was one of those things where you're like, not to have that. I mean, he's dead. Rest in peace to the homie. He's dead now, but it wasn't. It wasn't because of, he was cancer.
Okay, I'm not laughing about him dying. I'm laughing because you remember we were watching that thing and they were like, there was like some big thing that happened and somebody was supposed to be on the trip, but then it got switched at the last second. And then they were like, so did you ask him about that? And he was like, well, he was like, one of those things they don't talk about.
You don't talk about it.
Yeah, that situation, what you just explained reminded me of that. And that was such a funny part of it. Anyway.
Yeah. And so it's like, say what you want. He's like, those wives and kids are happy, and
absolutely.
But it's one of those back and forth, because it's like everybody understood that if you're gonna get Bin Laden, that people are gonna die in the process of doing it. So like even the even the DevGru guys that did it, all those guys thought that that the house was completely rigged. None of those guys thought they were coming back home. So. But by that time, like almost 20 years had passed and he made a damn fool of us. So at that point, nobody was worried about, the government was more than happy to sacrifice the lives of those DevGru operators, because, and two of the guys that were on that hit were also in Extortion 17. Rest in peace to those guys.
Wow.
But, so by that time, America was willing to sacrifice those guys. They were willing to sacrifice the entire team just to get Bin Laden, because he had made a fool of us. You're the most powerful country in the world. You can't find this one guy, whatever. But at the time, with this guy, like the war had just. This is like almost 3 weeks into the first boots on the ground there. Although we had agency elements in Afghanistan even prior to 9/11, but. And that's not any funny conspiracy anything. Bin Laden was a known guy. He'd already hit the USS Cole. He already hit the embassy. So we already had agency guys there looking, whatever. But so it was very, very, very early. So there was this assumption like, come on, it's America. We've got us. We've got MI6. There's no way he's going to get away. Well, he got away. And it's because he's got elements in the Pakistani government working for him. But the point is the whole contrast of bravery versus, just being an idiot. But this Norwegian fella, he's like, look, man, it's over, right? Like, it's over. He looks down. He sees how horrible they're being to people. And he can't, it looks to me like he can't reconcile running away and saving himself after he saw what was done.
What was happening to them in the woods there.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, too, it says a strong guy from the farm went, blah, 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 blah. And you said, maybe that means warrior. But I don't think so. I think they're just trying to show you that he's just a farmer. He wasn't somebody who had,
That's a good point.
a warrior in his soul. But when he saw that, it
That's a
brought
good
the
point.
warrior out of him.
No, that's a good point. That's a good way to say it. He was strong, which all farmers are strong. But he was just a regular dude who was like, you know what? Kind of like a Braveheart type of situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this entire, the human story, man, a lot of it, it's crazy to me how much of it is simply about taking people's resources.
Yep.
You got this beautiful place called Norway with these beautiful people that have created this amazing culture. Well, another thing I liked about the song, remember I said there's like a lot more dynamism in this song, is it had a folky kind of cadence to it. The dun 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 dun, like you're sitting around in
and the vocal style
fire.
in there.
Yeah,
and then they had the singing in the back.
Oh
That was
man,
pretty, too.
it was so same year. Like they completely like that. This song is almost like 10 years ahead of itself in a way. So those types of situations are the best and the worst. Like they're the best in the sense that look at this farmer, he became a hero, but they're the worst. Like, man, why couldn't we just leave these people alone, bro?
I
Like
know.
they, as far as I mean, definitely, the Vikings definitely they absolutely trouble people and they don't have any pity for me and they wouldn't want any. But I'm just talking about just like regular farmer in Norway, just trying to do his thing, take care of his family, have a little fun.
Right.
And we just go in there and just
Yeah, I know.
instead of saying, holy shit, there's a new group of people. What are they on? What are they about? What do they eat? How does it work? What can we learn from them? What can we show them? What can they show us? It's all this, and it's really funny because when you look at people talking about like space invaders and aliens and shit, they immediately like go to this sort of like colonization type of theory because that's how they are. And if they were a super advanced species 10,000 years into the future, they would go and oppress and but how do we know that they carry that mentality? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. But yeah, I agree here. This song captures the essence of the spirit of the Hill Nordsmen. I don't know what all that means, but respect to the Norwegians, man. And I'm always fascinated by how well these people were able to still maintain their culture.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that's unbelievably amazing stuff. Shout out to DJ in the house. Unbelievable stuff. That I have hella respect for that.
Oh, for sure.
Hella respect for
sure.
That. There's this church. It's called like Asartu or something like that, and it's like it's basically like Black Israelites. It's like European and it's only for Europeans, so they don't let anybody else that are not European come into their little circle. And it went all the way up to like the state Supreme Court because the city was trying to deny the license. And so somebody sent that to me. And I said, yeah, I'm familiar with the story. They're like, isn't this some bullshit? I'm like, yeah, it's some bullshit. The government shouldn't be able to tell people where they can gather and who's supposed to be in their group. They're like, you're okay with this? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm okay with it. It's their thing. They want to preserve European heritage. We got a whole bunch of all black, Umar Johnson. He doesn't let white people. He even told white people to get off his stream. I don't have a problem with it. He said it's for us. Okay, fine. So if they want something, why is it wrong for them to say we want to celebrate European culture, and we only want Europeans and blah blah blah? Why is that? Why is that all of a sudden this horrible thing? They're not hurting anybody. They're not killing anybody.
Because the history involved.
Well, the history that they're connected to is Norwegian history that was long before the bullshit that happened between white people and black people in this country.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so what you're saying.
They're not. Why should they have to suffer for that? They had nothing to do with that. Now, do they benefit from it? Sure, but they're not the ones that, you know, but if they want something where like, they're going back to their roots, and it's a celebration of their roots and their heritage, as long as they're not like burning crosses at people's lawn, what's the problem? Why is that bad? I don't think it's bad. I think people need to be able to really love their heritage and all of that.
I agree with that.
I mean, I wouldn't start a thing where people are excluded, but that's heavily influenced by my theology. But if I didn't have my theological of course, I mean, we probably wouldn't be together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, anyway, some of the stuff that they do, obviously, I don't agree with, but I'm a big supporter of people like being in touch with their roots and being in touch with their fathers and being proud of who they are, who God made them to be, and the accomplishments they've had all over the world. I'm a big supporter of that, man. So shout out to Sartu or whatever racist ass people, but I still love you. Shout out to Europe. Okay, what do you get the song?
8.7.
I got to give this song a 9.97 because I got to give it a higher score than Quintessence. This is just a lot more dynamic.
It was.
It was just such an upgrade and such a representation of growth, although it's the same year.
It's crazy.
That Fred Reese guy. Unbelievable. Okay, I think
Vin out and Sori out, so we can move to the next thing.
Yeah. I think something else is Sabaton is next, right? Stay tuned. Sabaton's next. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.